Morning, guys. I thought I'd just walk through this morning, I guess my thought process on these kind of days where obviously the US has gapped up 30 odd, 40 points, continuing to rally. Aussie's just opened here. So I'm actually not going to be trading the Aussie today, just because I am at max exposure on my US positions, but I thought I'd just kind of walk through how I'd be looking at it, okay? So first thing I've done here is filter for this US open gap greater than 30, okay? So to me, that's the kind of unique thing that's happened this morning, that I kind of, the extreme move that I want to grab onto and say, okay, well, let's look at how the market's reacted every time that this extreme event has happened in the past. So got a, what's that, 20, 40 point gap up so far on the Aussie. That's kind of, in the ballpark of what we've seen historically. Day futures, it's up 46 odd. So again, if for whatever reason, if it was, if we didn't really get much of a gap up or whatnot, this is where I'd be looking at, okay, well, this is where the futures end the day historically. And, if we'd only got a couple of points gap or something like that, you'd definitely have a very, very strong bias looking through to the end of the day as to where the market's likely to finish. Yeah, similar kind of vein, we could look at, the XJO, where that's finished historically. Again, today there's not really, I wouldn't say there's any kind of massive edge here. As you can see, 56 percentile, so pretty much smack bang in the middle of moves is where the market is currently pricing us. We're just opening up here. So again, just going back to kind of how these days have played out in the past, I'm just going through here. I'm just looking and saying, okay, well, I can see almost half full top in that first 15 minutes. Two have sold off from open, two had a bit of a spike and then fell, and then the rest are significantly higher. Lows, again, over half have hit 42 points to lows. So, in the event that market starts kind of looking like it's going to fall over, that's probably what I'd be targeting, these kind of numbers here. But I really want to see this first 15 minutes out, I suppose, looking at what we've got here. There's nothing, super compelling for me looking here. We've had 4 decent rallies in terms of end of day, 4 decent falls. So, I'm not really wanting to jump at shadows here. That first hour, obviously, I wouldn't be trading against the first hour, looking at, obviously 4 double-digit finishes higher in that first hour, finishes the day significantly higher, 4 double-digit falls. First hour finishes the day significantly lower. So, I'd probably want to be kind of trending towards, if I was trading and I didn't really have a strong bias from open, I'd be wanting to trend towards wherever this first hour kind of finishes. So, for me, again, if I didn't have positions early, I'd just be, as we start getting to, 10:40 onwards, you'd be trying to kind of predict which of these two the market's heading towards and kind of, getting ahead of the curve there. That's kind of how I'd be thinking about it. The other bit that I'd have up on my screen all morning is the range extension here. So what this gives me, once I do pick my direction and bias and entries, this is how I'm judging to take profit, okay? Because, you know, obviously we've got a volatile day today, okay, and this is where the ranges have finished in the past. So this is a distribution. So I'm kind of, I'd be taking first profit at 40 points range, whichever, direction I'm in, and so on and so on. So you can see it's starting to roll over here. So, potentially now I'm starting to think, okay, well, maybe we're looking at this kind of structure today. Still very early though, 10:03. So I wouldn't be getting, overly excited yet, but just about thinking ahead based on, maybe first hour, first 15 moves and going, okay, well, what does it look like if this plays out, and trying to get ahead of the curve, so to speak. All right, so we've just ticked over the first 15 minutes here. Pretty much what I was kind of expecting here in terms of nothing overly exciting. First 15, it's just kind of finding its feet down 5 or 6 points here. So what I'd kind of be looking for, again, just based on this massive US gap up and how that kind of flows through to the Aussie, start kind of playing around here with less than or equal to 0. So if I was trading here, I'd be looking for falls here, maybe with the stop above the highs, just based on historically what has occurred when we've seen weakness in that first 15 minutes. But yeah, probably confidence obviously grows the further you get closer to that first hour, that we're likely to finish the day lower. So anyway, hope that helps. Cheers.